Get Monse on Twitter at Monse Bolanos. You can find me on Twitter at Dan Beyer on Fox. I would say the Kawhi Leonard and Paul George deals for the Clippers have been anything but home runs for your favorite NBA team. And while we talk a lot about Damian Lillard, we even joked with Mark Medina about that. We talk about James Harden, who should have a decision within the hour on what he wants to do with his contract. We talk about Kawhi Leonard. Zach Lowe of ESPN brought this up on his podcast of there's something happening with the Clippers that we're not talking about, and maybe something could be happening. We just don't know. We don't know what the future is. And on this network 5 years ago, old studio, I remember where I was. I remember when it was happening. I felt that the Clippers about 5 years ago were the most intriguing franchise in the NBA because it was post-Lob City. Mm-hmm. And the previous versions of the Clippers, we knew that there would be very few high points, but then it would fizzle and go back to the bottom under Donald Sterling. Right. And I didn't think that was going to happen with Steve Ballmer as the owner. And I think what you have seen, that has not happened. And now I think, Monse, they're even more intriguing because you're in L.A., you're still trying to take some of that real estate from the Lakers if it is possible. Mm-hmm. You've got a new arena, and now you have two guys who are eligible for max deals that you may not want to commit to. We talk about where's Kyrie going, what are the Suns doing. Maybe the biggest decisions in the entire NBA could happen with the Clippers.
Yeah, this is such a frustrating conversation because I love the Clippers, and I'm so used to them making silly and stupid decisions. And I feel like here we are. We cannot extend both of these players. We cannot give these players max contracts. Absolutely not. What is the reason of insanity, or what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting to get a different result? What are we doing? We cannot think that this next year things are going to be different. This next year, all of a sudden, Kawhi is going to be able to play 16 games in a row. I don't think so. I don't see that happening. And as much as it pains me to say it, they are not the answer. Now, we have to keep them, I guess, for the next 2 years, but I don't think they are the answer for the Clippers. And it's like, I would call this a wrap, close up this chapter of the book, and try to make some moves.
I think the dilemma is, and this was kind of part of the piece, and I agree with it, is that the feelings are fragile. There are sensitive feelings with these players that if you don't enter into negotiations on a max deal, that could affect their playing for this season.
For the 20 games they're going to play?
I know.
So
I get it, but it's also, what do you do then? Do you just punt on this season? When you look at the NBA, this is another thing about the Nuggets winning it, and it's not meant to disrespect the Nuggets. It's meant that we have a team that we don't know if they are built to last and going to be like a Warriors team that goes on a run, or was this just a flash in the pan? I'm sorry, I think we have that question. We don't know what's going to happen with the Lakers. We don't know what the new look Warriors are going to look like. We don't know if Sacramento's going to take that next step. We don't know how Phoenix is really going to blend now with really no depth, and you've added Bradley Beal. There are a lot of questions. If you're the Clippers, can you really afford to punt on a season? Because Paul George was involved in trade talks with the New York Knicks. That has happened this offseason. Can you really afford to punt on a season when it could be there for the taking in the Western Conference?
I just don't think it is there for the taking in the Western Conference. I think the Nuggets, from one year to the next, I don't anticipate them all of a sudden dropping. The Suns are trying to get better. The Kings are good. I'm just kind of tired of the same old song and dance. And that's exactly what we would be doing. The same old song and dance. Like I asked Mark Medina, Ty Lue seems so upset by the end of the season. And what's going to be different this year? All of a sudden, they're going to be able to play all these games that they need to play, not the 20% that they're playing. And if we're relying on them to, then we're not thinking about other moves that we should be making for the future. So it's like, it is a risk to just kind of close this chapter, but I think not closing the chapter is the bigger risk and the bigger embarrassment if nothing happens this year.
You're saying rip this Band-Aid off and start the healing process that way?
Yeah. It's just the same. It's like I've been living this for years. Nothing has changed.
Kawhi Leonard has not been available for a full playoff since the bubble collapse in 2020.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, guys, why are we still doing? And there's been no other. I mean, at least move one. I know it's not easy though. I know the money, their age, the fact that they don't play.
Yeah.
I get all that, but like, don't extend them then.
That's the sensitive part of it is if you trade Paul George, how then is that a message to Kawhi? Maybe
I
you
don't
actually
think
go
Kawhi
into
thinks like that.
Maybe you go into negotiations. Usually you go in with good faith, and maybe this is not that scenario.
I feel like Kawhi is not thinking like, oh, we're a duo, like we're together, we're in this together. No, y'all don't even play together. Like this can't be it. I don't want to get rid of per se, Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. It's not that I don't like them as players. I just, as a Clipper fan, am tired of it. That's it.
And if we've learned anything from the Denver Nuggets, the way that the Clippers are built, that is not how you would want to build a championship team.
At all. Like, call me crazy. Keep Westbrook. I know that's like hard, but it's like at least he's playing. How do we have a chance if you're not playing? It's so inconsistent. Who are you going to coach? Who's going to be on the court? Who am I playing next to? That's not the recipe for success.
First time that's been said since 2017. She's Monse Bolanos. I'm Dan Beyer. It is the Doug Gottlieb Show. Live from the TireRack.com studios. Hit Monse up on Twitter at Monse Bolanos. You can find me on Twitter at Dan Beyer on Fox. If you want to use the hashtag OnAirBNB, more power to you.